Greetings everyone, Ford Turbo here. Today we're returning for episode 3 of old PC Resurrection series. So if you have watched the videos before these, the episode 1 and episode 2, if you haven't, link will be in the description below. So in the first episode, we took some time to clean the exterior of the PC and identify about the model number. In the second episode, we did using a long time, I think I personally used like 2 to 3 hours to clean the interior of the PC. It's so dirty. Check that thing out. Now we're finally waiting for the startup for this PC in I don't know how many years. At least 3 to 5 years, I would say. So let's check it out. If the Dell Precision 380 could return with its full glory. So let's open the latch again, the very convenient screwless latch, which kind of sucks, but well, I can't ask for too much. And we can see the inside. It's getting cleaner, like way cleaner than it first got digged out of my garage. Yeah, check out the GPU fan there. It doesn't really spin that good, I would say, so that would be a little bit concerning, but it's probably okay. All the dusts are gone. Check out the hard drive. The cable is still a little bit nasty, but you can't do too much about these ribbon cables. This one is connected to the floppy disk, and this one is connected to the DVD, which is still using IDE. It's not really great. And I think there's another ribbon that's going to the front panel connectors and everything. All the dust in the front has been cleaned out too, so you can see everything's clean. It's good. The floppy probably works. I have no idea. And the hard drive is getting cleaned. The power supply is... I didn't disassemble the power supply because it takes way too long and I don't want to shock myself and kill myself. So that's probably okay. And yeah, everything's getting cleaned. The cable is getting a little bit tidier. Not as tidy as a custom build should be, but well, it's not a custom build. The side panel is clean too, with all the things removed, all the dust. Top is clean, everything. So we're gonna try to start it up now. Because it's a pre-built, either Dell or HP, they most likely have, can it focus? I don't think it's focused. But they have a case intrusion sensor, which would have alarm if you don't close the side panel on during initial startup. So I would, in my opinion, I would just close the side panel for the first startup, and then I'll do some settings to the BIOS to at least silence it, so it won't have problem when I open the case, which would be really bad. So the things you need to have when you are trying to start up your old computer, you need some kind of a display connector. You need the display, of course, and you need the corresponding display adapter or a connector that's in the right one. This is my testing display, so I only have VGA, but this graphic card on the back only have DVI. These two guys can see, and S-Video, which S-Video is obsolete for so many years, except in entrepreneur uses, so that's not happening. So I'm just gonna use an adapter. I would not recommend using adapter forever, but this is just an initial setup, and it shouldn't be too bad. You probably want a mouse. Preferably wired. I won't use, I would not use a wireless mouse on an old computer once startup, because some of them actually wants to have a mouse detected to start up, which is annoying. Some of them even requires a PS2 mouse or keyboard, which I don't have, to start up. So I don't think this one is that old, so it's probably fine. You probably want a keyboard too. This is a very old keyboard, but I cleaned it up. It's all fresh and everything. None of the keys stuck, so that's good. And last but not least, you probably want some power. like this. So that's probably good. So let's do this. Plug in, let it go. Let's see what happens. First, you probably want to plug in your display connector because that's on the back of the case. The other things you can connect in the front. I don't really know which one to plug in, so let me just lower it a little bit. So you can see there's two connectors. I don't know which one to plug into is the best, but well, randomize it. It's probably okay. You plug in your power. Sometimes the machine will have a beep or might have the fans spin up. Depends on your build, but anyways, we can try out. And you can see there's a light up. Yep, and the fans spin for like half a second. I think it's a self-check, but that's probably okay. Not too worried about that. Turn to the front of the case. You plug in your keyboard before you start it up because sometimes they will require you to have keyboards or it will detect like keyboard errors or mouse errors, which will not be good. Then you move your display a little bit closer, like so. Now we can start it up. 3, 2, 1, go. The error code thing is doing its thing, saying error code 14, which isn't good. That's 1, 2, 3. Oh, I think I didn't turn on the display, did I? Interesting. So it's saying the drive is not found on SATA 1. So I think I moved it around the SATA drive, so it's probably okay. So that's error code 1, 2, 3 if you have something. So F2 to run setup. Let's do that real quick. F2. So now we can. So when you are first starting up any kind of computer, remember to run your setup. Even though if it's not posting, well, you can do it, but I would rather just go into the setup, despite if there's an error code or not. This time it's just very convenient saying, well, you have error. It's okay. Now I can see the BIOS is from January the 8th, 2007, I believe. That's what it's trying to say. See the processor. So it is a Pentium D. 3 gigahertz. That means it's a 930 because I took it off and I checked it. So yeah, it's a dual core chip. Not too bad. 3 gig doesn't sound much in the modern day, but it's probably okay to just watch a YouTube video or something. Next up, we have memory, and we got ECC memory, DDR2 ECCs, 4 gig of them in 667 speed. Which is cool, but I don't think it's interchangeable with any other kind of computer, which is okay. PCI information, we have the PCIe is of course the VGA, which is not standing for the connector, but standing for the graphic card. And we got slot 3, we got FireWire, slot 5, we got the sound card and everything. Date is actually correct at the moment. Next, boot sequence. So boot sequence, you should actually change this to SATA drive. Change that one to the first. Up and down to change device order. What? Up and UD. Okay, so you press U. If you see you have a SATA drive, you put it in the first place to ensure a faster boot. IDE hard drive we do not have. So down. USB device, USB floppy drive. That's not going to get used, so it's okay. That's good. We just need to put the SATA drive in the first place, so it's easier for it to detect. This cassette. That's probably talking about a floppy. So, because we have a floppy right here, so you probably want to leave it on, just default. Internal is good. So SATA 1 is an unknown drive. That means we have removed it, or we'll change it, or it's just not there. So let's turn that off. Second, let's turn that on and see. So it's still a no. Let's turn that off. SATA 2 is the Samsung 80 gig drive. Interesting. SATA 3, I think. Interesting. Because I know I have 2 hard drives in here. And the PATA 0, which is the IDE, the first one is the DVD drive, of course. So this thing. Does that work? That's a little bit sad. I think the DVD drive is... Oh, it's actually alive. Just trying to say it's dead, but it's okay. The PATA 2, we don't actually have anything connected to it. And, wow, our DVD drive is freaking out. Interesting, whatever. Oh, it's really freaking out. I think it's something stuck with it. It's probably okay, I'll fix that. So, let's just turn all these SATAs on. It says SATA 0 doesn't have anything, so we'll turn that off. Because I know I have 2 hard drives, I know how that actually works. So turn this to HCI, which is good. RAID isn't really on. Smart reporting is on. Onboard devices. The NIC, which is the network, you should leave that on. Integrated audio, you can turn that on. We have external audio, so we don't really need it. USB controller is on, so you can probably boot something off the USB drive. Just leave it pretty much default. Front USB port, of course, we need that on because we're plugged in right now. The LPT port, so these are the serial ports and stuff. And well, I'm not having any device that uses it, so leave it as default. It's the port address, I don't care. Serial port, leave it on auto. PS2 mouse, I should just turn it off, but well, it doesn't really matter. It actually tells you the factory default is on, so leave it on. The video, the primary video you set to PEG, which means PCI Express. We do not have a PCI video controller, which is actually very rare. You can actually see a PCI graphic card. It's either AGP or PCIe. I've seen one on Craigslist before, but no, I didn't get it. Multi-core, of course, we want dual-core power. Virtualization, if you're not using virtual machine, it's okay, just turn it off. Limited CPU value, I never get what this is, but just just leave it as is. HDD acoustic, this you can actually do something with it. The factory is bypass. I will set it as suggested, just so that the drive will actually select itself. If you want a really performance oriented, you go to performance. If you want it to be quiet, you get it to be quiet. That's okay. Security, no, we don't care about security. Yeah, we do care about security, but it's just about bias password. Oh yeah, that's what we're looking for. Chassis intrusion is on silence. That's good, so we can open the case when we're starting up next time. TPM security, don't care. Executable memory protection is on. I don't actually know what this thing do. I've seen people turn it on and off, but leave it as default. AC power recovery, I will set it to previous state. So if your computer's on and you have a power loss, it will automatically return to on position. If it's off, it won't do anything. If you turn it on to the on position, it will, every single time it loses power and recovers, it will turn on. If you turn it off, if it's running and it lost power, it won't turn on. So I would just put it to lost state, which is good. Auto power on, no. This is the time. Low power mode, nope. Remote wake up, this is about wake on LAN. So if you want to set it as a remote PC, some kind of thing. Suspended mode, you probably want S1 because it will resume quickly from sleep mode. So I will turn it to S1. S3 just saves the energy, but it's a desktop, so it doesn't really matter. And maintenance, you have the service tag, which is good. So if you want to find any kind of, this is the advantage of having a dial. So if you want to just get any kind of support, like BIOS update, drivers, whatever, just go onto Dell's official site, go to support, and enter a service tag. Everything will be there. That's great. Low default, you can do that too if you are setting up the first time and you don't really know about everything. That's okay. Event log. Interesting. We have some. Oh, so the last time the computer has been used before me is 2015, but it's actually having three errors. So I think someone actually tried to power it on but didn't make it. I know it says post error, so but it says keyboard error. Interesting. I think so. At least this computer hasn't been started for 1.5 year, 2 year ish. Okay, so we know that. We can try to clear the log, but we don't need to. This is actually they have never cleared the log before. This computer is produced in 2006, April the 28th. It's about, I think it's the 28th, but it's produced in April anyways. Oh, yeah, and it's about to have its birthday. How many years? 11 years. It's 11 years old, soon enough. Post behavior. Post behavior, turn the fast boot on, of course. A number lock, well, that's your preference. I would turn it on. OS install is just leave it as default. Post hotkey. This is just about how it displays stuff when you're trying to start it up. I would just leave them on. If you want to hide them, I'll go ahead. Keyboard errors. You can turn this off. Well, I will leave this on. It's okay. Press ESC to on the bottom left. Press ESC to exit. Save and exit. And we'll see if it actually goes into the system. Interesting. I think I lost a hard drive. So I need to go into the setup again. 0 is off. Oh, okay. So my 250 WD is plugged into SATA 1. So SATA 3, we should turn like 3 minutes ago we turned it all on. So now we turn the SATA 3 off because there's nothing in it. I know I only have 2 drives in the SATA port. So SATA 1, 2 are occupied. One is the Western Digital 250. One is the Samsung 80. We press ESC again. We save and exit, and we'll power right up. At least it should. Pentium D inside, we know that. BIOS 809. Then probably have an update on that. That's doing its flashy flash. It's flashing. Still flashing. I know what's happening right now. It is my first time powering up the system. So I don't really have an idea. Very interesting, I think. That might have been the reason why this computer has been buried inside a garage for so many years, because it doesn't start up. That's very interesting. But we know we can go into the BIOS and everything is detected correctly. That means the hardware doesn't have any fault. That's very interesting. And it's not doing anything anymore. So let's try to restart it. First you press once to turn it off. And now at least we can show the side. And we can check if there's any kind of fan not spinning problem. You never know. So get the side panel out of the way. the fan I'm paying attention to is this one, and the fans in the front, which I can actually directly just feel. So let's try this again. So the front fans are working. This one is working as well. But that one's quite a bit noisy. I don't know if you can hear that. It's like hitting things. Yeah, because it's not the smoothest fan ever. Oh, it's getting pretty hot. That's bad. Let it spin, let it spin. Very interesting behavior on the display here. So I don't really know what's happening to this computer. I think there might be a system corruption, which will be bad. So I'll try to jump ahead and give you guys an update when the display actually have some kind of a response. Okay, so I'm back, and the only thing I've done is I've swapped these cables. So these cables are connected to the hard drive, of course. So one is the 250 was going to the SATA 1, now it's going to SATA 2. The 80 is going to the SATA 2. Now it's going to the SATA 1, and we'll see if that makes a difference. So here we go. Interesting thing first is the GPU fan is not trying to spin up. It's having trouble to spin up. I think it's just lacking the lack of lubrication, I think. I'm not sure, but that probably needs to be paid attention to, because that might throw. Oh, we got a new message. That's interesting. So now we know the hard drive that the system is installed on should be on the 80 gig Samsung, because that's plugged into hard drive 1 right now. Windows could not start because the following file is missing or corrupted. That's the reason why, I believe, that might be the reason why this thing has been lying in the garage since I don't know how many years ago. Because the system has corrupted and they don't really want to take care of that. So I'm not going to fix a Windows XP system because I have no idea how to. It says you have an original setup CD-ROM. Yeah, good luck, search for that. CD-ROM, not even DVD-ROM. So what we're going to do is first try to fix that fan, because that's first very noisy. You can try to hear that. I'll bring the camera down. That's first very noisy. Second, it's not going to have adequate cooling for the steel. I don't believe, at the very least. Second, we're going to have brand new system installed. So what I have here is Windows 7 Pro ISO. On this disk, we have a DVD drive. So yeah, well, you can do it with a USB stick, but well, I have the DVD. I have cloned them into DVD, so I can do that. So let's do this real quick. Put a disk into the drive, which doesn't really work, to be honest. Anyways, I pressed ESC. Oh, okay, let's go into setup real quick. So it won't do anything. The DVD is open. Put the drive in. Slamp it in. And we're gonna change the boot sequence. CD-ROM. Is this considered a CD-ROM? You know what? Let's just put everything above the hard drive so it would do it. Yeah, we're not doing network, so these two are. This one is probably floppy, so let's go with this. Escape, save, escape, save and exit. And we can hope we can get into Windows 7 setup. So we know the only hardware is not working is the fan for the GPU. The GPU is working itself. That's always good. Now it's doing the flashy flash again. Ha! Press any key to boot from CD or DVD. Let's press. Oh, I didn't even press anything. What? All right, I guess just let it go. It's probably gonna install Windows 7 now. Not gonna. What? Okay, so I think I missed the step. So let's do it again. You gotta power it off, power back on, and press any key when it says to press some key. Because I didn't, and I tried to boot in with the hard drive, which isn't gonna work. We know that. We know that. I'm smashing every single key on the keyboard. It's doing auto adjusting. Oh, the DVD is making its noise. But why is it doing the flashy flash again? Okay, very annoying. But the fan noise is gone on the GPU, which is interesting. It's spinning at full speed again. Yes, Windows setup. Windows is loading file. Look at the graphic card fan. It's working again, which is interesting. Which is actually very interesting, considering how it's not working before. Listen to the DVD. Very loud, and the fan and the power supply are very loud. Everything's so loud. The graphic card is kind of hot. The CPU heatsink is not, so also it's running good. Because when we disassemble the computer, you can see the CPU heatsink. That's actually quite beefy for its size. So, and the fan's doing the thing again. It's doing it slowly if you pay attention to the corner of the screen. Interesting. Is it because it's PWM, so it's doing the pulse thing? No, I don't really. I've never seen a fan like that, but well, it's not really broken, to be honest. It's saying starting Windows, that's good. And we know this is the starting Windows of Windows 7, so that's always cool. And yeah, we got Windows setup screen. That's super cool. Do they have Canva? Yeah, they do. Why Chinese simplify? What? Oh, okay, it's just the C part. That's very interesting. I said, what Chinese? How does it know? I know how to speak Chinese. Very interesting. Let's just do US because I don't actually like the Canadian multi-language thing. I don't even have a multi-language keyboard. So, can we actually do reporter computer? We can't. Install now. And setup is starting. And just like magic, Windows 7 Professional is starting up the first time on the Dell Precision 380. The first time. It's preparing the desktop, which is great. I didn't connect it to the network, so it doesn't have any driver update. That should be the first thing you do after you have your desktop, set it up. You should connect it to network. Let it have all the drivers. Let it have all the updates it needs. But I'll do that in a bit. Don't forget, after you have set up your computer, after you have seen the desktop, go and check all the things you have. Go into manage, right click on the computer and go into manage and wait for a second because this computer is slow. And you can see on the bottom right corner it's trying to connect to network, but it doesn't have any. Go into device manager. Okay, so the sound card doesn't have a driver. That's okay. actually it got all the drivers installed already. Very interesting. But you can see all these things that's popping up is not having driver. You should right click on it and click update drivers. Which we would do in a few seconds. The first thing you should do is don't forget to restart your system. Take out the DVD you have just popped in or the USB and close it. Let it do its first restart, because you should always do that to clean up the system a little bit, just so it doesn't get stuck and get lost when it's doing its setup. And go into the BIOS, because you want to set up your boot sequence back, therefore getting a faster restart. Yeah, don't forget to put the not presented in the last place. Press escape. Press escape. Save change. Press escape again and save and exit. And the desktop should appear soon enough. Let's see the full glory. So I have backed up the drive and the data in it, and I cloned once. So now it's in a fresh install of the whole system. I'm surprised that they actually have drivers for such a old graphic card, the FX 1700 Quadro card, which is good. That means in the next episode we could run some testing on this PC. I don't think it's gonna perform well, but you know what? We're gonna test it, because we spent our hours to clean out the outside, to clean up the inside, to take it all apart, to rewire it, to install a new operating system, and to start it up. We gotta test it, how much performance we can squeeze out of an 11-year-old computer. Thanks you guys for watching. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you don't, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm 4Turbo, signing off.